we're going to go over something pretty simple. We're going to go over quick deployable ridgelines. We got two types here. We're going to be talking about paracord ridgelines, and we're going to be talking about natural cord ridgelines. All right, so to get started with the 550 paracord ridgeline, basically what we have here, and with both of these, they're quick deployable ridgelines, which means that you have a system set up so you can quickly just grab it and throw up a shelter. It's nothing that takes time. You don't have to tie knots every time. You have something ready to go. So basically, with the 550 paracord, you're seeing something that's a bit slipperier and doesn't bite into itself as well, that will matter when we get to the trucker's hitch at the end of the ridgeline when you're setting up. So first things first, this entire thing is probably about 30-35 feet long, including this end portion here. The reason is just so we have adaptability. We can use it on multiple trees. They can be farther apart, close together. It doesn't really matter because you have that length. And even in the end, you know, it's literally just a fist-sized bundle of paracord. We have a bowline knot here. So this knot, when you use this, you know, you're going to be wrapping around your tree and pulling the line through, and using a stick, you'll make an improvised marlin spike hitch. This will allow you to just set the cornerstone, quote unquote, of your ridgeline. Next are 4 prusik knot loops here that are comprised of fisherman's knots. I have 4 of them because that allows me to have 3 tension spots that I can connect to my tarp. Then I have this longer one right here that I can use for a lantern. All right, guys, so we're here. We have our 550 paracord ridgeline, and I'm just going to set it up real quick. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to run through it, and then I'll bring you in closer for a closer examination of this real quick. All right, guys, so as you can see, I just set up my ridgeline. That didn't take too dang long. I took the bowline knot around the tree, made an improvised marlin spike hitch, which I believe you can see right at the end there using that stick. Next thing was I took it all the way down to my opposite tree, wrapped it around, and my bag was kind of in the way. I made a trucker's hitch loop. I brought it through that trucker's hitch loop twice, and then I cinched it tight. And that made my usable ridgeline. So I'm going to bring you in closer for a closer look, and I'll tie the knots, and I'll show you how to set this up in a closer fashion, because I believe this part's the simplest, but the trucker's hitch does confuse them. All right, so here on this tree, I'm going to show you how to use this bowline knot on your ridgeline. First, when you have your bowline knot, you want this empty space right here. And when you have that, you're going to take it around your tree, and you're going to have your loop and your other line, and you're going to take that loop, you're going to eat the other line through the bowline knot. And then once you've done that, our goal is to make a quick release marlin spike. So you're going to take a stick, right here I just have a stake that I've carved out. You're going to slide it into that loop you've just made, and you're going to cinch it tight. This acts as an improvised marlin spike, and it just provides enough tension for the line to stay on the tree. And the reason we like to use this is just because when you're done, when you're taking apart your shelter, instead of worrying about some knot that you have to, disassemble and reassemble every time, you literally just pull out your marlin spike, and you can pull, and your line's ready to go. All right, so now that you've made your improvised marlin spike on the other end, your quick release hitch, you're going to take the other end of your line, and what you're going to do is you're just going to take it, you're going to throw it, wrap it around the tree, all right, your opposite tree, okay? You're going to pull it tight. You're going to pull it fairly tight, all right? And then this is where things get a little complicated. You're going to make a trucker's hitch. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your fingers, kind of reverse it, and you're going to make a little loop, all right? It's going to look like that. And then you're going to take your loop, and like the bowline, you're going to eat up the line, okay? And you're going to get this loop like this, okay? And what you're going to do after that is you're going to feed the other end of your line through that loop you just made, okay? Now you could just stop there, but what would happen is when you're pulling tension on your line, it'll loosen. So what I like to do is take the line through again under the wrap you've already done through that loop. And then when you're done, you're just going to pull your line until it's tight. And what happens is, because you have that coil, it's not going to loosen itself up. You can pull on it and it's not going to. So you saw on the 550 Paracord Ridgeline that it's not difficult at all. It's very simple. A couple very simple knots and boom, you've got a Ridgeline. This is my natural cordage Ridgeline. This one's about 35 feet as well, if not a little bit more. When I was spinning out this rope, I decided to be a little more safe than sorry, so I have a long hank of line. I believe it's about 30 to 40 feet. It's somewhere in that range. But anyway, this is rope that I've made myself. Out here in the woods, I built a rope spinner, and I took jute twine and I made this rope by spinning it on itself through multiple processes. This stuff is really coarse and it bites on itself, which is a pro and a con in various parts of this Ridgeline process. So first things first, obviously you can see the bow and knot. It's the same thing as the paracord. And then we have four, they're kind of looped, they're all over the place right now. We have 4 prusik knots that are comprised of, again, 4 fisherman's knots. And then the rest of it is, again, just 35 feet of handmade rope. This is very strong. It holds up. My line I've used, or my tarp, my shelters, I've used it plenty of times instead of a paracord line, and I highly recommend you guys do this as well. I will be having a video soon of how to make a rope spinner and how to use it, so you can do this stuff and make rope very quickly. You can see here there's a lot more material and fluff and fiber that can bite into itself when you make knots. And out here I was teaching or instructing Bushcraft Club here at VMI, and what I found the day that I introduced Ridgelines, we had been using natural cordage. We don't use paracord for Bushcraft Club. We make all our rope by hand. And what I found when introducing Ridgelines is that when we would make the trucker's hitch, it was really hard to get it tight enough, and it was virtually impossible to take down just because the stuff bit into itself so much. So I found an alternative method to making a trucker's hitch. It's not a trucker's hitch anymore. One of the club members called it just a simplistic hitch. I'm going to show you that real quick. Everything except that is the same. So here, let's set this up and we'll talk about it. Again, as usual, wrap it around the tree. You make that little loop by eating the line, and you're going to stick a stick in there to act as the improvised marlin spike. So now we're going to extend it and go to the other end. Now this is where things change, all right? So because this stuff bites on itself, you can't make a trucker's hitch. So what you're going to do instead is you have all this extra line here, right? So what you're going to do instead of making a trucker's hitch is you're going to pull this, fairly tight, nothing crazy. You're going to pull your line around your main line, your actual ridge, and then you're literally just going to pull this way. And what you're seeing is, because you don't have all this complicated, knots and loops and stuff like the trucker's hitch, there's not a lot of area for your line to bite into itself and catch and be impossible to take down. You literally just have this one area here that's tightening your line, and that's allowing you to pull tension. Pull that nice and tight. You're going to pull around the tree, all right? And you'll see here, I'm at the back side. You're going to take your extra little bit and you're going to make a loop, okay? You're going to make a loop like that, and you're going to stick it through the line that you wrapped around the tree previously. And as you can see right there, that's what it looks like in the back. And you have plenty of tension on your line, keeping it straight. You have your prusik knots, and this is what I actually use for my shelters. And when you're done, you're ready to take it all apart. What you do is you just grab this extra end here and pull, all right? And that completely loosens your entire ridge line. You can pull that, Boom, one side down. You walk over to your marlin spike, pull that out, boom. Two sides down, ready to be wrapped up. So you can see that at least I think the system when you're using rope, natural rope that you've made, spun, woven, whatever, is a lot simpler in terms of setup and takedown than the Paracord one. And that's just literally due to the construction and kind of the fiber material and how coarse it is between the Paracord and your natural rope. All right, guys, now that I've kind of gone through the Ridgelines, it's really, really simple stuff. I'll have a video of the knots and how to make them out soon. The four main things that you need to know for a Ridgeline is the bowline, the fisherman's, the prusik, and the trucker's hitch if you're using paracord, or what I call the simplistic hitch if you're using rope. Was this video for today. It was nothing crazy, just kind of showing what I do for quick deployable Ridgelines. They're very useful tools. I highly recommend making one. Thanks a ton for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe if you aren't already. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.